I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. Reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
Disney's Snow White remake with Rachel Zegler is the scandal fest you didn't see coming. It's a total disaster, and the gossip's juicier than ever. Did Rachel's wild antics sink it?
I'm really emotional. I'm also really tired.
I never wanted to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I had. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously.
Was there a secret co-star showdown? Why's Disney hiding now? Can she claw her way out of this mess? Is the Mouse House doomed? Well, to know all about this, stay tuned till the very end.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I look at that girl and I have no idea what I'm looking at. It's really quite wonderful to be a part of the Disney family, and obviously to join the league of so many wonderful live-action princesses, but also so many that have been depicted in animation as well. This is the flagship animation.
Disney's Snow White didn't just flop. It got dragged through the mud before it even hit theaters. The backlash wasn't just about bad box office numbers. The controversy started way before the movie was even finished. And let's be real, a lot of it had to do with Rachel Zegler's own words.
And the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
First, there was the casting drama. Some people lost their minds over the fact that Zegler, a Latina actress, was chosen to play a character originally described as having skin as white as snow. It was like The Little Mermaid all over again, when some folks threw a fit about Halle Berry playing Ariel. But that was just the beginning. Then came Zegler's comments about the original Snow White movie. In 2022, she basically called it outdated and weird, saying there's a big focus in the original on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time. Yikes. She also said the old version was extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power. That didn't sit well with fans of the classic. People love Disney movies because of nostalgia, so trashing the original wasn't exactly a smart move. The Daily Mail called her comments a woke tirade, and even Variety said she trashed the beloved original Snow White. Film critics were split. Victoria Luxford, a film editor at City AM, pointed out that these live-action remakes rely on nostalgia, so openly criticizing the original was bound to backfire. On the other hand, Anna Smith, host of the Girls on Film podcast, said Zegler's comments were being blown out of proportion. She argued that many modern remakes adjust old stories to fit today's world, and no one makes a big deal about it, except when the woke debate gets dragged in.
I let myself go all the way with the drama and with the character to really celebrate the evil queen.
Co-stars? Sure. Friends? Not even close.
Rachel Zegler didn't just get people talking about Snow White. She also set Twitter, X, on fire with her political opinions. And let's just say it didn't go over well. Last summer, she hopped online to thank fans for their reaction to the Snow White trailer. Pretty standard, right? But then she added, and always remember, Free Palestine. Boom. The internet exploded. Some people cheered, others raged, and according to Variety, producer Mark Platt had to personally fly to New York to have a little chat with her about it. What was said in that meeting? No one knows because neither of them ever addressed it. And that wasn't the only time Zegler stirred things up. After the 2024 U.S. presidential election, she took to Instagram and wrote that she hoped Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Subtle. Naturally, the backlash was swift, and she eventually apologized. But by then, the damage was done.
Zegler is now apologizing. She writes in a new post, I let my emotions get the best of me, and I am sorry, contributed to the negative discourse.
Some people praised her for speaking her mind. Film analyst Ehen Nulo pointed out that actors talk politics all the time and it's not exactly groundbreaking. But others weren't so forgiving. Critic Connor Riley noted that Zegler's anti-Trump rant didn't exactly help her movie's already shaky launch. It's one thing to alienate part of your audience, it's another to basically tell millions of potential moviegoers that you hope they suffer forever. Not exactly the best way to sell tickets. But Zegler wasn't the only Snow White actress getting political heat. Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, faced her own backlash for openly supporting Israel. The timing couldn't have been worse. Hollywood is already knee-deep in political tension, and Snow White somehow landed right in the middle of every major controversy. Racial debates, global conflicts, and America's ever-growing political divide.
Because Rachel Zegler has not just made these recent comments about Donald Trump, which she's walking back now, she also made some comments earlier while promoting Snow White, saying that Snow White doesn't need a prince and that this isn't the 1930s anymore.
Rachel Zegler isn't just catching heat for Snow White. Some people think the backlash is fueled by something bigger. According to film editor Victoria Luxford, a lot of the hate she's getting might not even be about the movie itself. She's a young Latina woman with strong political opinions that don't align with certain groups, Luxford pointed out. Basically, some folks were ready to be mad at her no matter what. And let's be honest, Zegler's not the first young actress to be thrown into the internet's rage machine. Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things recently called out the media for constantly picking apart her looks, saying it felt more like bullying than journalism. This kind of thing happens to women in Hollywood a lot, especially when they speak their minds. Film critic Anna Smith put it bluntly, "When women in the public eye get criticized, there's often bias at play. No matter what they say, the way they're treated is very different from how men are." And let's not forget, plenty of male actors have shared their political views, yet they don't seem to face the same level of outrage.
Vote for Kamala Harris, and it's actually non-negotiable. Our rights are on the line, folks. Our reproductive rights.
Critic Ann Aniulo took it a step further, calling out the entertainment industry for basically leaving actors out to dry. Actors of color are always the easiest targets for backlash on social media, and yet studios and media outlets stay silent, she said. That silence just lets the toxicity keep growing. It's the Wild West out there. And honestly, she's not wrong. Social media has become a free-for-all where anyone with an opinion, or just too much free time, can pile on without consequences. Of course, Disney had nothing to say about any of this, because why get involved in the mess when they can just sit back and hope it blows over? But despite the drama, Zegler's career is far from over, because she just made headlines for something completely unexpected, reading a bedtime story on CBeebies. Yep, after weeks of controversy, she ended up on a children's show telling kids, to be a powerful princess, you just need to be wonderful, brilliant you.
Had the lowest opening, under 50 million, of any of these live-action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea.
The movie finally hit theaters on March 21st, 2025, and instead of breaking records, it barely scraped together $43 million on opening weekend. That's not just bad, it's humiliating. Let's put that into perspective. The Little Mermaid in 2023 had people arguing for months before its release, yet it still opened to $95 million. Even Dumbo in 2019, a movie absolutely no one asked for, made $45 million. And Beauty and the Beast in 2017, a jaw-dropping $174 million in its first 3 days. Meanwhile, Snow White is struggling to outdo Dumbo. Ouch. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, the Thursday night preview numbers were downright pathetic. $3.5 million. For a Disney movie? Horror flicks with no marketing do better than that. At this rate, Snow White will be lucky to limp past $150 million domestically, which isn't even close to what it needs to break even. For comparison, The Marvels in 2023 was called one of the biggest flops in MCU history, and it still made $47 million in its first weekend. So how did Rachel Zegler, the movie's lead, handle all this? Well, she went to see the movie with a few friends, probably hoping for some support. Hilda Mason, Jorge Mason, Remy and Maria Isabel de Mason, tagged along, and judging from Ilda's Instagram stories, the vibe was awkward. The theater looked nearly empty. The only thing getting attention was a lonely popcorn bucket with Snow White's face on it, and Rachel was holding a bouquet of flowers that felt more like a sorry your movie bombed gift than a celebration. Did they rent out the whole theater to avoid embarrassment, or was there really just no one there? Either way, it was no victory lap.
Had the lowest opening, under 50 million, of any of these live action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
If Disney wants to make more woke films that tank at the box office, they are more than welcome to do that, but maybe think of an original idea.
Now let's get into the real disaster, the finances. For Disney to make back its money, this movie needs at least $500 million worldwide. Right now it's on track to make, well, not even close. If this trend holds, Snow White might not even hit $300 million, which would make it one of Disney's biggest live-action flops ever. But the behind-the-scenes drama, even juicier than the box office disaster. Variety just dropped a bombshell report, and let's just say Rachel Zegler is at the center of it. Turns out Disney executives were freaking out over her non-stop controversial comments. She had already trashed the original Snow White back in 2022, calling the prince a stalker and saying the story was weird. "We didn't do that this time," she proudly declared, as if she had revolutionized cinema. Fans of the 1937 classic were not impressed. Many asked, if you hate the story so much, why take the role? Fair question. And then there's Jonah Platt, son of the movie's producer Mark Platt. He took to Instagram, before quickly deleting his comment, to directly blame Rachel for the movie tanking. Apparently, his dad had to fly to New York twice just to beg her to cool it with the controversial takes. Drop your hot takes below. We would love to read them. And for more such amazing videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel.